Claude Lévi-Strauss. Is there a universal logic to culture? Claude Lévi-Strauss was born in 1908 and is regarded as the father of modern structural anthropology. His formative years were spent conducting fieldwork in the Brazilian Amazon, experiences he later chronicled in his famous memoir, Tristes Tropiques. This encounter with indigenous cultures led him to reject the Eurocentric idea of primitive minds, instead arguing that all human thought follows universal structural patterns. In his landmark work, Structural Anthropology, he applied linguistic models to the study of kinship and myth. Throughout his long career, he sought to uncover the savage mind that operates beneath the surface of diverse cultural practices, aiming to find the common cognitive architecture shared by all humanity. The study of kinship was traditionally focused on the biological or functional aspects of family ties. However, applying structural linguistics to social life reveals that kinship is actually a system of communication. Just as words gain value only through their relationships within a language, individuals in a society are defined by their positions in a network of symbolic exchanges. The most fundamental rule in this system is the prohibition of incest, which forces families to look outside their own group for marriage partners. This elementary structure of kinship creates a web of alliances, most fundamentally through the exchange of women between groups, that binds society together, ensuring social cohesion. By viewing marriage as a form of symbolic exchange, we can see how societies are built on a logic of reciprocity. This shift in perspective moves away from the specific content of customs and focuses instead on the underlying rules that govern social relationships, suggesting that culture is a structured system of symbolic logic that precedes and shapes individual behavior. Myths often appear chaotic, but a structural analysis reveals they are highly organized. Myths are composed of small units called mythemes, which function like phonemes in a language. The meaning of a myth does not reside in a single story but in the way these units are combined and contrasted. At the heart of most myths are binary oppositions, fundamental contradictions like nature versus culture, life versus death, or raw versus cooked. The myth acts as a logical tool to mediate these tensions, attempting to resolve the contradictions humans face in their daily lives. By comparing different versions of myths across various cultures, we can see that while characters and settings change, the underlying structure of oppositions remains remarkably consistent. This approach suggests that the human mind has a universal tendency to categorize the world through dualistic structures. Instead of asking what a myth means literally, we should look at how it functions as a mental map, helping people navigate existence through a structured system of symbolic logic. The way humans create meaning can be understood through the concept of bricolage. A bricoleur is a handyman who uses whatever tools and materials are at hand to solve a problem, rather than following a pre-planned engineering design. This is how the savage mind operates when constructing myths or cultural systems. It takes remnants of past events, stories, and images, intellectual debris, and rearranges them into new patterns. Unlike the engineer who creates new tools for a specific purpose, the bricoleur works within a finite set of symbols to express a wide range of ideas. This concept challenges the Western idea of progress and the perceived superiority of scientific thought. It suggests that mythical thought is not a failed attempt at science, but a sophisticated way of organizing the world using a different kind of logic. By recognizing the creative nature of bricolage, we can appreciate how diverse cultures construct meaningful lives out of the materials available to them, emphasizing that human creativity is always situated within a structured system of inherited symbols. Lévi-Strauss revolutionized the social sciences by introducing the structural method, which sought universal laws behind cultural diversity. His work directly inspired the structuralist movement in France, influencing thinkers like Jacques Lacan, Michel Foucault, and Louis Althusser. By demonstrating that cultural phenomena could be analyzed with the same rigor as language, he elevated anthropology to a leading discipline. However, his emphasis on static, universal structures eventually sparked a reaction from post-structuralists who criticized his neglect of history and individual agency. Jacques Derrida's famous critique of Lévi-Strauss helped launch deconstruction, arguing that the center of a structure is itself a construct. Despite these critiques, Lévi-Strauss's legacy remains profound. He fundamentally changed how we understand the relationship between nature and culture, and his defense of the intellectual complexity of non-Western societies paved the way for modern multiculturalism.